everyone. How are you doing today? Thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of Monday Motivation with your girl Avanti. Come and tell me, how was your weekend? So it was Mother's Day this weekend. So I want to say a happy Mother's Day to all women out there. God bless you for being awesome to the kids. God bless you for all you do. And even every woman, period. You deserve to be told Happy Mother's Day. So I'm saying Happy Mother's Day to you all. Yes. Hope you went to church yesterday. I hope you had a good time. I hope you connected online. Whatever the case is where you are, I hope you were generally blessed. So today I want to talk about a topic. Sorry, I'm laughing because this topic is something I didn't think I'll ever come out and talk about, but I've seen God do wonders in my life, so I want to go ahead and share it with you. So today I will be talking about forgiveness. Right. I know everybody, there's so many talks and shows, many things about forgiveness, but I didn't talk about it for a while because I didn't think I could, I didn't think I had it in me to talk about it, even though God has dealt with me so many times and so many things I've had to let go, I've had to forgive and, just move on over and over again. I didn't think I was qualified, but yesterday, something happened and I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and talk about forgiveness. And this is what the Lord brought to my attention. So even in talking about forgiveness, what I want to major on today is the cost of unforgiveness, right? So that's really the topic for today. The topic for today is the cost of unforgiveness. And the scripture that I'm going to be using as my text scripture today is coming from Matthew chapter 18. And I'm going to read most likely from verse 23 to 35. But I'm not sure I can read all of it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a brief story. Then go ahead and read maybe a few key verses. So let's read. I'll be reading from verse 23. And it says, "Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought before him who owed him 10,000 talents. But for as much as he had not to pay, his Lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife and his children, and all that he had, and payment to be made. The servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, I will pay thee all. Then the Lord of the servant was moved with compassion, and loosened him, and forgave him his debt. But the same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence. And he laid his hands and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me that thou owest." I want to read more, but I'm trying to make it brief. So what this servant did was, the second servant, which was owing him 100 pence, he threw him in prison. He would not have mercy on him. So his friends, the other servants, saw it, and they went to tell the Lord, and they said, "Look at this servant, see what he has done to another servant." And this is what the Lord decided to do. So I'm going to go down and read from verse 32. This is what the master said. "Then his Lord, after that he had called him, said unto him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee all thy debts, because thou desirest me. Shouldest not thou also have had compassion on thy fellow servant, even as I had pity on thee? And his Lord was wroth, and delivered him to the tormentors, till he should pay all that was due him." So the number one cost of unforgiveness is you might lose mercies. A lot of us, when somebody does something to us, it's so hard for us to let go, It's challenging, I know. Sometimes you're like, no, I do not want to let that person go. No, they have to, they have to pay for what they did to me. But let me tell you something. You might do something to somebody in the future and need forgiveness. And see it this way, everything that you do is put into an account. Can you go into an account and make a withdrawal if you never made a deposit? The police will come get you, like they'll throw you out of the bank. So what am I saying? You don't know when you would need to cash in on that forgiveness. Even though it is hard to forgive, it's too costly not to forgive. I'm going to say that one more time. Even though it is hard to forgive, It's too costly not to forgive, because the time might come when you will need mercy, you will need forgiveness. And if you haven't been putting deposits into your account of forgiveness, you might not have any mercy when that time comes. So as much as it's difficult, to forgive that person, consider this point and think about it. Do I think I will need forgiveness sometime in the future? You never know. So I advise you, let it go and forgive. So the second cost of unforgiveness is it might lower the power of your prayers. I know, I was finding the right words to say, but that's how I could put it, that it might lower the power of your prayers. And I'm going to explain what I mean by reading a few verses. In the earlier verses of that same chapter of Matthew chapter 18, Jesus was talking about offenses. He was saying, if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. First of all, he started talking about little children. If anybody should offend little kids, it won't be good for them. I'm paraphrasing, it won't be good for them. And then he went ahead and, talked about if somebody woe to the world because of offenses. He was talking about offenses. Of course, we know offenses is what leads to, somebody being angry, which later leads to forgiveness, whether you forgive them or you choose not to forgive. So, and pretty much Jesus was talking about all of that. But there's a part that stood out to me, and that is in verse 15. And he says, "Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his faults between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, then thou hast gained a brother." So Jesus was saying here that, if something is going on with you and your brother or your sister or whatever, try and make peace with them. But the funny thing I found out? Jesus didn't stop there. From there, he started talking about prayer. I'm like, okay, Lord, why did you have to talk about offenses first before you started talking about prayers? And this is what the Lord opened up my eyes to. I'm going to go ahead and read from verse 18 of that same chapter again. And this is what Jesus said. "Verily I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Again I say unto you, if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done of them of my Father which is in heaven. For where two or three are gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of them." So Jesus was telling us here that if you can make up with that brother, because he first of all started talking about if you're offended with somebody, then, if you reconcile with the person, try and reconcile with the person. I'd like, if you have time, to go ahead and read that chapter. It is loaded. He said, try and reconcile with that person. If the person won't listen to you, get a third party, go to the pastor, I'm paraphrasing. Just do whatever you can to reconcile with that person. Then he said, if two of you shall agree, anything you ask shall be done. Whatever you bind on earth, my goodness, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you lose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. So even though you can pray by yourself and get results, but he's saying that tremendous power to set decrees, to make laws, to set things in motion is made available when you pray in agreement with somebody. So that's why I'm encouraging you to forgive. I'm not saying that particular person is who you have to hold hands together with and agree. But think about it. What if you are able to reconcile with that person and then you guys jointly agree and pray concerning a need? I'm telling you, it will be almost impossible for God not to answer such a prayer. And that's why the enemy tries everything he can to stop us from walking in forgiveness, because he knows that if we walk in unforgiveness, there's a high cost to it. I don't know what it is that you've been going through or what somebody did to you, but I want to encourage you. Think about the things you are going to lose by not forgiving that person, and go ahead and ask God for help, whatever you need to do. At all costs, whatever you need to do, ask God to help you forgive that person. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you must become best buddies or best friends with that person. I mean, your particular situation. Just find a way to forgive that person, whatever you need to do, so that, you will be able to reap the benefits of walking in forgiveness. I have 2 more points I want to share with you, but I don't want this video to be too long. So I'm going to split this video, and the other 2 points you will hear next week on the next show. But definitely meditate on these things I've said. And like I encourage you, go ahead and read that whole chapter. And ask God for grace. Ask Him to help you to forgive whoever you need to forgive. Because like I said to you, it's too costly not to forgive. Go ahead and share this video. Every one of us at one point in time or the other have had to, forgive somebody. And some of us, we might still be holding on to somebody in our heart that, we can't forgive, or we feel like, no, that person doesn't deserve forgiveness. That's why you should share this video, because you don't know who you might be helping. Somebody might have something that God has been trying to release onto them, but because of this unforgiveness, it's creating a barricade or blockade from them walking in the fullness of what God wants to do for them. And as you share this video, you will be helping such an individual. And until I see you again next week, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Encourage your friends to subscribe. We're still trying to hit that 1K mark. Yeah, but God is faithful. Y'all have been amazing. We're like at 950 something subscribers already. So I want to say thank you. I appreciate every one of you that are subscribed to this channel. And just go into your week, have a pure heart, ask the Lord to help you forgive all those you need to forgive. Until I see you again next week, it's been your girl Avanti. Keep winning. Bye for now.